The engines roared like a distant storm, a thunderous echo rolling across the empty highway. But even that wasn't as shocking as the sight that made the bikers hit their brakes: an 8-year-old boy standing alone in the middle of the road, arms raised, eyes red from crying, begging them to arrest him. His voice trembled as if the weight of the entire world sat on his small shoulders, and for a moment, the hardened riders felt their hearts stop. No one expected that a child would stand before a group of leather-clad bikers, pleading for something so strange, so desperate, so heartbreaking. And yet, there he was. If you believe in kindness, in second chances, and in helping those who cannot help themselves, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your support helps these stories reach more hearts. The boy's name was Ian, and he had run so far that his legs had nearly given out beneath him. His thin clothes were dusty, his hands scraped, but what caught the biker's attention most was the way he kept looking back over his shoulder, as if someone terrifying was still chasing him. The sun had started to sink behind the hills, casting long shadows across the cracked asphalt, and in those shadows Ian seemed even smaller, more fragile. When the bikers switched off their engines and walked toward him, he didn't run. He didn't hide. Instead, he fell to his knees and begged them again to take him away, to lock him up, to keep him safe. The bikers, men who were used to tough situations and broken souls, suddenly felt unprepared for the sight of a child who believed that being arrested was safer than being free. As they guided him to the side of the road, offering him water and letting him breathe, Ian told them everything in broken, trembling sentences. He spoke of a home that never felt like one, of nights he cried himself to sleep trying to drown out the shouts from the next room, of days when he tried to make himself invisible so no one would get angry. His mother had passed away years earlier, leaving him alone with a father who had drowned his grief in alcohol until it twisted him into someone cruel. Ian had endured it quietly, believing that children were supposed to obey no matter how much it hurt, but that morning had been different. That morning, something inside him broke. He had run when he heard his father yelling again, run with no plan, no destination, only the hope that somewhere, somehow, he might find someone who cared. The leader of the biker group, a tall man with scars across his knuckles and years of road dust embedded in his jacket, felt something inside him shift. His name was Cameron, and he had once been a lost boy too, running from a childhood that had nearly destroyed him. He knew the look in Ian's eyes, the look of someone who had learned fear far too young. Cameron gathered the group with a glance, and without a single word spoken, they understood what needed to be done. They couldn't arrest the boy, but they could do something far more powerful: protect him. They lifted Ian onto one of the bikes, wrapped him in a spare jacket to shield him from the wind, and rode toward town with the determination of men who refused to let injustice pass them by. As the engines rumbled through the streets, people stepped aside, watching curiously, some even nervously. But Ian didn't feel fear. For the first time in years, he felt something warm spreading through his chest, a flicker of safety, the beginnings of hope. The bikers brought him to a community shelter run by a woman named Shazia, who had dedicated her life to helping children with nowhere else to go. She greeted Ian with gentle eyes, and he instantly sensed the difference between her touch and the world he had known. While Shazia listened to his story, Cameron and the bikers stood guard outside, their presence a silent promise. They contacted the authorities, explained what Ian had endured, and ensured he would not be returned to the place he feared. A legal process began, slow and complicated, but throughout it all, the bikers visited him every day. They brought him storybooks, food, a small toy motorcycle that one of the riders had carved by hand, and most importantly, they brought laughter, something Ian had forgotten he was allowed to feel. Weeks passed, and Ian slowly transformed. The trembling boy who had stood in the road begging to be arrested was now learning to smile, learning to trust, learning that not everyone in the world wanted to hurt him. He joined the bikers on safe rides around the shelter's grounds, feeling the wind rush past his face, feeling alive. He began to speak with confidence, to ask questions, to dream again. The bikers didn't just rescue him, they rebuilt him piece by piece, showing him that strength wasn't about shouting or violence, it was about kindness, protection, and standing up for those who couldn't stand up for themselves. One afternoon, while sitting on a hill overlooking the town, Ian confessed to Cameron that he had once believed no one would care if he disappeared. Cameron, staring at the horizon painted by the setting sun, told him something that Ian would remember for the rest of his life. Sometimes the world breaks us just to remind us how strong we can become when the right people find us. And in that moment, Ian felt something shift in his heart. The loneliness that had once consumed him began to fade, replaced by gratitude for the strangers who became family eventually. With the help of the shelter and the authorities, Ian was placed with a foster family, a gentle couple who welcomed him with open arms and promised to give him the childhood he deserved. But he never forgot the bikers. They continued to visit, taking him on rides, teaching him courage, reminding him that he was never alone again. His new room was decorated with photos of the biker group, the toy motorcycle proudly displayed on his shelf. It became a symbol of the moment his life changed forever. As the story comes to its final stretch, I want to pause here and speak directly to you. If this story touched your heart, if you believe every child deserves love, safety, and a chance at a better life, please like the video, comment your thoughts, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe for more inspiring stories. Before we end, please comment below. Every child deserves protection. Your comment may be the message someone needs to hear today. Ian's story is a reminder that heroes don't always wear capes. Sometimes they ride motorcycles, covered in dust and scars, carrying hearts big enough to change a child's world forever.